Bonjour, welcome back. Today we take a look at KRIS Jenner's Architectural Digest home tour. I believe she's moved since then, but for the purposes of this video, it doesn't really change anything. So let's get started. Disclaimer before we start, this is not my first reaction to this house. I've seen this video many times over. It's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite 80 tour I've ever seen. And it makes sense because the designers of the space, mother and son duo Kathleen and Tommy Clements, along with Tommy's husband, Waldo Fernandez, are amongst my favorite interior designers.
Hi guys, I'm KRIS Jenner. Come on in. I love this house because it has a really open floor plan. It makes me feel really zen and relaxed.
In the entryway, you have this really nice moment with the Rick Owens curial chair and a Serge Moiscans. Rick Owens is probably my favorite furniture designer ever. So let's have a little appreciation moment for his pieces.
So I hope you guys like it. This is the living room, and love the way that the colors just make me feel so calm. So it's a real special part of the end of my day.
The living room is just a perfect moment, and I think it's all about balance here. The fresh whites and ivories are setting the serene overall mood of the room, but the medium to darker elements are what ground the space and keep it interesting. If everything had been white or really pale, the room would have just felt washed out and boring. Same goes for the furnishings. They're mostly modern and clean lined. One could even say Japandi-esque. But the two Otto Schulz chairs have a bit more of an unexpected classic flair, and I feel like they truly add depth and interest to the mix. Let's just pull up the picture I used to illustrate Japandi in my last video and compare it with KRIS's living room. If you take out the two accent chairs and the interesting art pieces, the space now feels a bit too one-note, kind of like the Japandi room on the left. Let me know if you agree, but in my opinion, it really goes to show how effective mixing styles can be, and that it doesn't have to be super eccentric or out there. Also, I know most people would find a low coffee table unpractical, but I think it looks relaxed and elegant, and since it's kind of the more front of the house formal living room, I think its slightly unpractical nature is more acceptable.
This is one of my favorite rooms because I love a great dining room and we entertain a lot, so this makes it really fun. And a little fun fact, I bought this credenza from Ellen DeGeneres, and it's Charlotte Perry owned. Very fancy.
I have looked so many times at the photo of this dining room. It has a really contemporary vibe, but it doesn't feel too first degree. In contemporary style, I feel like the color scheme is often limited to maybe one black tone, one white, one gray, and then one wood tone, all repeated many times throughout a room or home, but not here. Colors are harmonious, they complement each other without having to be repeated throughout the room. Also note how the artwork is not matchy-matchy with the room's color scheme. The art brings something new to the space. It doesn't need to repeat what the furniture already said. Now, notice how the living room, the first part of the entryway, and the dining room are all aligned to one another at the front of the house. So what the designers did was use the same rug for each room, which is actually really clever. I also did this in my double room in my apartment to bring some continuity to the space. I've seen many really beautiful rooms that are zoned and divided with different rugs, but sometimes it's just too much visual information. So I think that's a really good tip not everybody would think of. You're allowed to buy multiples of the same rug.
I love the way that this feels because it's a lot of open space. The staircase is fabulous, and it's very calming in this room. I keep using the word calm because I need that in my life. Anyway, I love this room because it's open to the kitchen and...
Going into the casual living room, I like the two Jean Prouvé stools on the side. It adds an additional layer without being too much. And I think the reason it's not too much is because they're in the same tones as the floor, yet slightly different. It provides interest to the pathway, but not in a jarring way. I think if the stools were to be black or white, it would have distracted the eye from the more important view of the seating area. And it would have felt a bit too intentionally matchy-matchy, trying to tie in with the other black accents or white elements. But that way, the eye can understand more easily what's happening. You have your brownish block of color with the floor and the stools, and then you have the white block, which is the seating area. I know I'm getting really focused on a small thing here, but sometimes the efficiency of a design scheme relies on that kind of attention to detail. It's all about the visual information and how your eye travels through the space. Special mention to the sofa and the armchair. I believe they're a reproduction of a rare Chanroyère seat. I really like how, even 75 years after its design, it still feels relevant and fresh today.
You can see when you're cooking and entertaining in this part of the house, everybody can be together. So I love that. Over here is my Lalonde sheep, which I love and I'm very proud of. But the last time I entertained here and Chrissy Teigen came over, after one little glass of wine, she was riding my sheep.
I would get off before my mom comes and beats you.
So that's a no-no. Don't sit on my sheep. Makes me cranky.
Okay, so about the Lalande sheep. The Lalandes actually loved designing furniture, but in a whimsical way. Lalande sheeps were actually made to sit on, and we have proof. Look at how much fun she's having on her sheep. I know it's a really, really expensive piece. Collectible design, nya 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 nya. But I'm team let's sit on the sheep. Thank you.
This is a little bar from 1955, which just happens to be the same year that I was born. And it opens up and it lights up. It's like a little party all by itself. And of course I have a lighter with my face on it that my daughter made me. We're in the kitchen all the time. We pretty much live here. It's the heart of the house. Someone's always cooking in here. And loving to make cookies and snacks for all the grandkids who come by on a regular basis to get a cookie. We have a good time in here.
Kitchen looks good. I appreciate how it's a somewhat normal size and not a Four Islands kitchen. Also like the grouping of similar potteries together. Not much more to say on the kitchen, although I'll add that I love the pairing of the table and chairs. The thin frame of the table with the even thinner frame of the chairs is really elegant.
So the piano is one of my favorite things in the house, right over here. Kanye and Kim gave me that for Christmas a couple years ago because they knew that I missed my baby grand piano. Everybody needs a piano. Ta-da! I love my Yves Klein little statue. This is what I one day aspire to look like if I work out hard enough. And the powder room. Tommy and Kathy Clements and Waldo Fernandez.
So here we have a take on the classic fun and dark powder room, but made the Clements and Fernandez way. And it's beautiful. I love that little box of Kleenex. And again, it's almost the same color as the counter, bringing us back to controlling the visual information and how the eye takes it in. It lets the more golden accents, like the bouquet of roses and the frames, shine as they should.
Are the designers and did such a great job on the house, and I'm thrilled. Everything they've done, from the colors and the palettes and the stones, textures, just everything, the furniture is divine, and I love this space. Thanks so much for coming, guys, but I gotta get back to work, so time to go.
So that's where they end it for the video tour. But in the AD article, they had more pictures available. I won't touch on all of them, but I still have a few things to say. The office nook is great. It's a great spot for showcasing the family pictures and little trinkets as they did. And I think it works because it's all kept on the desk level, with the pencil holders, the lamps, and the more functional objects all mixed together. The upper shelves are then kept super clean with neat little piles of magazines that are not used as often, if ever. If all the office supplies and memorabilia had been displayed through all the shelves, it would have been way too busy. Nice outdoor moment here. although I'm not sure how comfortable these chairs are. They're beautiful, but they look really low. I'd be curious to give them a try. The bedroom is probably the room in a house where the color block technique is the easiest to understand. The beige bed, the nightstands that blend nicely with the flooring, it's all really easy for the eyes to process. The type of bed is also quite signature to Clement's design, but I think this iteration is my favorite. Overall, such a great home. Minimal and clean, yet layered and textured. And when I say texture, I don't only mean matte and rougher textures like linen or antique vessel stone type texture. We shouldn't forget about glass and more lacquered finishes. Once again, it's about not being one note. Those shinier textures contrast beautifully against the rougher ones, and I think we might tend to forget about it recently with all the minimal wabi-sabi Japandi trend going on. I like the styling of the home too. Everything is styled beautifully, but it never feels overdone. And all the spaces still look functional and usable as is. I don't like when things feel overstyled and not realistic, because design is about form meeting function, not just about aesthetic. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it, and I can't wait to make more content in the future. So please, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, you can find me on Instagram at Laurent Lanier. Bye bye!